chat, or do you
Sure,
want me to?
absolutely.
Okay.
So I've got Facebook. I'm coming up with next. You do things in a certain order. Facebook should be live now. If you want to share, I'm going to see.
I'm heading over there. Todd.LIVE.
Oh, it hasn't uploaded yet on my iPad.
Yeah, look at this.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so there it is. We're on Periscope. We're everywhere now, except for Instagram.
Cool.
And I'm starting that right now. It's a circus, let me tell you. And I feel like I'm sitting in a football stadium with all these lamps over my head. It's a lot. Okay, so there we are. We're both on. Cool. Everything looks great, folks. Tonight, Live Video Live, my efforts in going live 4 days a week on the evenings at 8 o'clock. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Live Video Live is the show. This is where you can come for just fun banter between me and whoever's with me. Tonight, it is my good friend Ross Brand. I'll tell you a little bit about him in a moment. But yeah, Live Video Live, just just light and fun and talking about live video, talking about social media, talking about life in general. I mean, anything is certainly possible. This is not something that's going out to podcast or going to be repurposed in a great fashion the way some of the other shows are done by both me or Ross. It's just having some fun. So anyway, folks, tonight it is Ross Brand. How you doing, Ross?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me on one of your first shows here of this new endeavor. And I like the idea of it not not making a big deal out of repurposing so much and stuff like that, but just enjoying a relaxing kind of late night conversation, at least late night on the East Coast. And so whatever it is, right? And no preparation or anything. We just kind of see where the conversation goes and what's going on with us and live video. And I'm honored to be a guest. I love what you do, and always happy to chat with you.
Well, thank you so much. I love what you do as well, and that's why you're always either the first guest or the next to first. I think this is the first time. Well, I didn't know you when I did my podcast, Divorce the Workforce. So, but since then, you've pretty much been my first guest every time. Of course, Jen Nelson was the first guest this time, and she and I had been talking yesterday, and I was just, hey, why don't you get on my show tonight? Sounds great. And she was available, which was fantastic. Folks, Ross Brand, if you don't already know him, and I suspect that most people watching this broadcast do know him, but just in case, he is a professional live stream and social media professional, mainly live streaming. He has a background in broadcasting from radio from back in the day. He's carried it over to live streaming on the internet. Livestream Universe is his brand. And he has done all sorts of things under the umbrella of Livestream Universe. There's Livestream Stars, Livestream Sports. There's all sorts of things under the Livestream Universe name that he has done over the last, I think, 2 years. You've been doing it, haven't you?
Almost 2 years. October 10th, 2015 is when I started. It was like 2 days after I discovered Blab, and I said, this is pretty cool. I wasn't thinking I was going to go on camera or I was going to do any of that. I thought like my on-air interviewing and all that stuff days were long over, and I was just going to like share what other people were doing. So I started a Twitter account, and it grew pretty quickly. So I was like, okay, let's start a website and continue sharing this and promoting what people are doing. And of course, I eventually got the bug, and since then, I've done a couple of shows here and there, maybe.
Yeah. I think our mutual friend Jen Nelson's having a little fun with you. She's laughing at the fact that I think she was on the show last night, on the first show. So
yeah, I've been demoted, but
you've been.
In all fairness, I mean, if you were going to pick somebody else and you told me you picked Jen, and I saw that you picked Jen, I'm thrilled. Jen's doing a great job with Wine Antics and VitMug, and
Ladies Go Live.
What she's doing.
Ladies Go Live. That's the big one. They're really hitting that hard, and I've only got to see part of an episode, but it's good stuff. And she had a lot to say about it last night, and that's a big one for them, I think.
I haven't had a chance to check that out yet. But I know that Jen's doing a lot of different stuff, and so if she's a part of that, I'll definitely have to check it out.
Well, I misspoke yesterday. I couldn't remember if it was Ladies Go Live or Ladies Do Live, and there's a different meaning to the Do Live. I said that. Yeah. I mean, sorry, Jen. I just had to bring that up. I mean, this show's about
subscription only, I believe.
Yeah. No, that's not what it's about. But I knew it when I was saying it too. I knew that it was just not the right. I knew it was Go, and it just came out. But yeah, I mean, you're the mayor. We have to think of a title for Jen. The Duchess, maybe. I don't know. We have to have some royalty names for people.
She's
people
the
that are
beverage certainly the beverage person.
Well, people are, the people that are hitting it hard and know everybody, and she's definitely one of them. She seems to know everybody, as do you. I got to get there. That's high level. You guys
you're
know
getting
everybody.
there. If you keep up the schedule that you've undertaken, and it's certainly a very ambitious schedule, you're going to be on everybody's radar, believe me, before too long.
Let me tell you, I think I said it before we started broadcasting. I'm going to have to adjust it probably some. We've got baseball coming up, and I know that hitting it every night at 8 o'clock isn't going to happen. In fact, as I told you earlier today when we were talking, I wanted to do Create and Engage, do a morning broadcast and an evening broadcast. Right. Thursdays at 6:30, and I bet anything Thursdays at 6:30 is never going to happen once baseball starts. It's over with. So I've got to be realistic about the schedule and make some tweaks to it. But for the first week, it's kind of jumping in, doing a big cannonball and seeing how it's going to feel. And, it's been fun so far, but it's been rigid.
Yeah, I'm kind of fascinated by this idea that baseball season's just starting. Kids play fall baseball out there. It's all year round, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is the mecca for outdoor sports, Southern California. Right. And a lot of the Major League Baseball players come from here, and people know that. So they've got their kids playing. And my kid plays year round. And we do play in the spring. That's the main season. But we are starting a travel ball type thing. And I had a meeting tonight. Because there's, kind of laying the groundwork. A lot of the parents they don't know what to expect in a travel ball situation. And there's no guarantee your kid's going to play and all that sort of stuff. So, but yes, not in New York. I don't think they do baseball except for in the spring.
Yes. Like high school and traveling teams, they do some summer league stuff. Better players usually get a chance to play in some summer leagues and stuff, but, definitely fall is all football and soccer and I don't know what else, but definitely football and soccer are the focus in the fall here.
What did you play?
I played soccer a little bit when I was young, but I was more into basketball and baseball.
Yeah, I played soccer. Not a lot of baseball.
I wasn't a big fan of soccer.
Yeah, my boy.
Maybe if I was better at it, I would have liked it. But I really couldn't wait for basketball season, and baseball season was good too.
Yeah, we've got a baseball player, that's my boy, and we've got a soccer player, that's my girl. So that's nice. Pretty much all they do. So let's talk a little bit about live streaming. You have several shows that you work on. What do you have going on right now, and what do you have coming up here in the near future?
So right now I'm doing, I had been doing Livestream Stars weekly pretty much with some breaks along the way, right? Breaking it up into seasons. And I decided that, why not do twice a week, right? Compress the season a little bit, but really have that momentum going, do 2 shows a week. And so that's what I'm doing for August. With the exception last Thursday was Ask the Expert. So I have Livestream Stars and I have Ask the Expert, and then live stream news is more of if something's going on and I want to bring somebody on and talk about it. That's pretty much what I originally was booking guests and scheduled for live stream news, but it's too many different shows, so I like to just keep that as something spontaneous to do when there's some news worth talking about, right? And then I haven't totally settled on this name yet. But I have a new show that's launching at the end of the month on Thursday, August 31st. After the end of this season of Livestream Stars, I'm thinking the name is going to be Livestream Deals, but I'm open to a better name if anybody has a better name. But it's going to be a show focused on selling, right? So much of what people are doing on live streaming deals with building relationships or developing an online footprint and repurposing and sort of starting people down a funnel that ultimately one day may lead them to buy a product or pay for a service or something. And I know a lot of people want to be selling their products and services and aren't that comfortable with it. God knows I'm not comfortable with more of a call to action than like vote for me for this or, you know, sign up for this or whatever. Come watch my show, right? I shy away. I shy away too. So this show's going to be an opportunity for people to develop that skill set by coming on with me. I talk about their product and service with them, and we sell it. We give people an opportunity to buy it then, to learn more about it. And that's kind of what the show's going to be about. And it's going to be about products and services that people such as yourself and Jen and other people in the live stream community have developed in order to help people, whether it's a course, whether it's coaching, whether it's a book that's out or something like that. And then also with the brands that are developing products and services for the live stream community. So anything from an app that helps you, put your broadcast on more channels to some type of social media management, any type of app or product that people who live stream would use. It could be gear, it could be a microphone, it could be a camera, it could be something new. But that's kind of what I'm looking at doing. So both helping those people in the live stream community who are looking for products and services, but also those people in the live stream community who have products and services to help them sell those products and services, and also to get the people who are creating products and services for the community, may not be live streamers themselves, but if their products and services can help people in the community, we want to promote what they're doing as well. And before this answer goes on too long,
no, you're good.
I just want to say that obviously, as you know, I've really enjoyed promoting people's shows, right?
Absolutely.
And people seem to have really liked that and talking about when people are doing shows and all that. But I'm thinking even better would be to help promote their businesses and their products and their services and help them sell by asking the questions that bring out what are the key benefits and the key features of their services. And also, I'm going to be straightforward. I'll make a little money from it too, because I'll sell those products in our online store, livestreamdeals.com. So I may make a little bit off of it as well. So let's everybody who's doing live streaming not just make money through a client that finds you online and thinks you're great, or talking about providing some value and then somebody hires you for something, but actually you've got a product here. Let's get it into people's hands. Let people know what's great about it. The LuLaRoe people are killing it with selling clothing and stuff like that. QVC's been an institution for generations, It seems like now. Why can't we do this with live streaming?
I think it's an interesting concept. Do you have anybody on board yet?
I do, but I'm not going to announce yet until I make sure that we've solidified everybody. But I have somebody who has a course. I have somebody who has a product that really helps you in live streaming. It should cut down on some of the CPU usage and things like that when you're streaming. It's a product that people in the live stream community don't really know that much about. I'm looking at talking to an author. I want to get 3 or 4 people on every show and really talk about what they're doing and what makes their product worthwhile. And of course, it's something that I will look at myself first. And so I will only present things that I feel comfortable that are of value to the community, that I've tried, that I've read, that I've looked at, And so there is a vetting process. I'm not just throwing anything out that I think somebody might buy this, so let's put the person on. Clearly, these are either people I know or people that I've spent time getting to know their product or their service.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you definitely want to be, at least fairly passionate about what it is you're talking about. It'll make you a better salesman. You'll have an understanding of it. I went to the Irvine Spectrum here in Orange County, California last Saturday, and Adam Carolla was giving a 5-hour podcast course.
Wow.
And it was pretty good. The last 2 hours of it kind of fell apart a little bit as far as the interest level that people had, because some other people came in to speak instead of Adam, and they weren't quite as talented with the wordcraft as Adam is. Adam's amazing. But one of the things that they talked about was Adam doing reads for products, and Ian Goldie's given me a lot of love on Periscope. I thought I'd shout out to him. He thinks your concept's interesting. He left a comment a minute ago. But
cool.
Adam Carolla, one of the things that he does is he has the potential advertiser come in to meet with him, and he asks a bunch of pointed questions to try to get to, what really is this product and service about? What are and he says everybody, when they come in, they have this giant list of things that they want him to hit in this 30-second spot. And like, he wouldn't be able to hit it all if he had an hour. So he's like, give me 3 to 5 main points, and I'll pick and choose from those 3 to 5 for every 30-second spot. And I'll mix it up. One 30-second spot will have, maybe 2 of the 5 points. Maybe one will have 3 of the 5, and 2, if he picks 1 and 3 for one, it's, so anyway, I could see you doing that. Like, yours might be a little more lengthy, I guess, if you're having somebody come on and they're going to, if your show's an hour and you've got 4 people and everybody gets 15 minutes, you'll have more time to dive deep. But same kind of a thing. You'll need to get to know the product and the service and ask your questions, and that way you can talk about it as well as the person that owns the product or service. I mean, you're the presenter. You're the guy with the personality.
Well, thanks. I'm also open to, if I really like a product and I talk with the company or whatever, and they're like, listen, doing video or doing an interview isn't really what we're comfortable with. If I believe in the product enough, maybe I'll just talk about it myself during a segment. But I think people who are trying to market to the live video community probably have somebody within their organization that's going to be willing and able to come on video and speak to it. But I think what makes this different, and you as an entrepreneur, I'm curious what your thought is, since the show and the show isn't like paying the bills, right? It might be a little extra change for me or whatever, but it's not something that's paying the bills. It's important to me for my credibility in the community that I only put on products that I really believe in, because after all, it's the credibility that makes people want to work with me. It's the values and the way I present myself and all that. So, somebody who's doing a TV show or radio show, yeah, they can advertise almost any kind of product. They're very different. They're very distant from the customer or the viewer in a lot of ways. This is all about our relationships. The people we're selling to are each other and other people that we know and have spent time with in person, online. We've been on their shows. They've been on our shows. We support them. We subscribe to their lists, all that kind of stuff. So I don't think I would want to do it to a stranger, but I certainly wouldn't ever want anybody to feel like, okay, this guy's just going to push anything that comes along. And that's really important to me, that if it's not good, if I wouldn't use it, it's not going up on the show.
Well, I mean, it defeats the purpose of your show. You want people to trust what you're putting out there, and you want them to tune back in, and you want them to feel like whatever it is you're promoting is something that could possibly help them, and not just something to to sell them. So I think it sounds great. Now, Adam Goldberg, I forget his name already. It's Ian Goldie. Ian Goldie. He asked if you have. He kind of sees it as the Twitch for shopping. Do you see it that way at all?
It could be. It could be. That would be something else, right? I mean, Twitch is a monster, right? I mean, Twitch is huge, and it's so popular amongst gamers and certain communities. And obviously, if it became like that, shoot, we'd be doing this 24 hours a day, right? I
Yep.
wouldn't be worried that much about hosting shows. I would have people on doing it all day long, and but right now it starts small. It's maybe once a month or once every other week. We're going to start with one show, and then I'm planning to book another one at the end of the following month. But if it goes well and there's enough products out there and people who want to do this and want to tune in for it, maybe I'll do it every other week, and then it all depends on how it goes.
I think you jump to every weekday night at 8 o'clock Pacific, and we can go head to head.
That's what you think, yeah.
Oh man,
get like a rivalry East Coast West Coast thing going, and then it raises both of our brands.
Well, you know what?
Both of our profiles, as long as nobody gets hurt in the process.
Quite honestly, I don't know if anybody has figured this out yet, but I wonder if it probably there's just the internet's so vast that only the people that are producing would maybe notice, but you got to wonder if there were 5 or 6, if you go into your Facebook feed and there's 5 or 6 people all going live at 8 o'clock, would you be more inclined to tune into one of them, or would you pass them all by? Or it's kind of like and what I'm thinking of is you've got McDonald's on a street corner, and across from it's Burger King, and across the street is Wendy's, and maybe there's a KFC on the fourth corner. And it's like that's where people go when they're hungry, and one of them's going to get the business. And you'd think that McDonald's wouldn't want Burger King across the street, and they'd rather have the corner all to themselves. But they all know, same thing with car dealerships. They all tend to be, now maybe that's a zoning thing, but
it's probably zoning. Right?
Yeah, but car dealerships are all in the same spot, and it's like if you're going to buy a car, you're going to go to that one street and get it. So I just wonder if if there's more content, and particularly if it's consistent. I think we're way too early in the stages of live video that you would be getting this kind of content consistently. But when that day comes, will there be more viewers? I mean, as it becomes more normal, will people there's 5 of my people that I follow all have shows at 8 o'clock. Maybe they tune in and turn off the television set. I don't know.
Right. I mean, ultimately, you got to do what works for your schedule, right? I mean, if you have other obligations, you have clients, you have customers, you have family, you have children, you have whatever you have going on in your life, you probably don't have 24 hours of the day to where you can pick any time slot you want, right? So you have to work with what's realistic. That said, I've always tried to make an effort, like even when I picked 7 p.m. Eastern to do Livestream Stars back in November of 2015, I looked around at like who I enjoyed watching and who I knew and things like that, and looked for a time slot that I didn't see anybody in that I also felt would work for me and the kind of show that I'm doing. Whether it really matters what time slot you're in, whether it really matters whether you go up against somebody else, I mean, it's not, audiences aren't that big for this.
Not yet.
It's like people fighting over, how are we going to split 10 cents 10 ways, right? I mean, like what are you fighting over?
I didn't even mean it as though like, let's say that I wanted to start a show and go up against your show at the 7 o'clock Eastern time slot. I'm not thinking of it as a means that like I'm going to poach the people that are watching you somehow. What I'm thinking is that it just gives people choices. Like, if people know that at 7 o'clock, a few of the people that they like to follow or that they're interested all have shows, that maybe they're more inclined to tune in. It's kind of like, when you drive up on a corner that has all the restaurants, you might be more inclined to stop and go ahead and eat while you're there because you've got some choices to choose from. So I didn't mean it as a like.
So you're saying like instead of all of us going back to back to back to back, so that there's only one show of our community, let's say, at each time slot, if we all went live at 7 p.m. Eastern or 11 p.m. Eastern or whatever, then people would know that's the live stream hour, and everybody sort of
Quite possibly.
rising tide lifts all boats. So people would know that's the time if you're going to watch this week.
Yeah,
and everybody gets more eyeballs and attention.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. And you know what? I think in a sense, people have already done that. I mean, I don't remember if it was Joel Comm or who it was, but somebody was trying to put together some kind of master online document of some sort or something where you can go in and see when all the regularly scheduled programming is happening, kind of like a TV guide. Ian Goldie's saying TV runs 24/7. What makes someone pick a channel? Well, that's going to be the content on the channel, of course, and probably the quality. I mean, it also will have to do with, the content and how it's presented. I mean, I know if I'm flipping channels and the Big Lebowski's on, if it's on a pay channel, I will always pick it. If it's on a channel where it's edited, I'm going to pass it. So
Right.
there's also, or if it's letterboxed in a weird format, I'm not going to choose it. But, I do think people in the past, who has done that in the past where was it Joel Comm where there was like a TV guide almost sort of thing where you can go and you could register yourself? I've not
he had something where I did register, and then I don't recall like following up and actually seeing what was on the site or hearing much about it. If I had heard about it again, I would have. But I think maybe he tried something like that. I mean, that's what I was trying to do with the updates that I was doing, and you would see certain time slots like 3 p.m. Eastern was a very busy time slot. 4 p.m. Eastern was often busy. And then 9 p.m. Eastern, Thursday nights in general were busy, but 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night seemed to be a very, very busy time. And, Jen wasn't scared. She went with Wine Antics at that time. And, like you said, there's more than enough. Kristen Karasevich and Nick Rishwain host Social Chefs at that time. For a while, I don't know if she still does her rehearsal show, but Claudia Santiago was doing music at that time. So there were a lot of shows at that, and even more. Raven the Talk Show Maven was doing something either at that time or 10 p.m. And so I don't know that it hurt any of them for as far as having a good time, attracting people who were into their content or anything. Maybe people just knew that was a good time to tune in because there was a lot going on.
Yeah, and it sounds like a time that worked for them. I mean, we all have to, like you said, we have to work within the constraints that are set up by life, whether you've got kids or not, or, whatever's going on. Hey, I want to kind of pivot just a little bit. Question for you. I think this week is the 1-year anniversary of Blab shutting down. And I know that you were a blabber. I was not. I only did one blab and I didn't do it. I appeared on one. It was one of Joel Comm's and I was on and maybe spoke for 5 minutes, if even that. But, I know that you were a pretty prolific blabber. So, what are your thoughts on a year since that's been gone? And is there anything out there? I think I know the answer to this, but is there anything out there that has substituted Blab?
No, I mean, there's nothing like Blab, right? Be Live is building a community with the ease of bringing people on camera, the ability to sort of do call-ins like Blab did, and also they have a Facebook group, and there's a lot of community involvement and people sharing tips and sharing their shows and things like that. And Be Live does their own branded shows. So I would say that that's probably the closest thing. And I think Be Live has a very passionate community. But what Blab was something that I've never seen before, and I don't know whether we'll ever see again. I still call it the greatest, for a few weeks at least. It was the greatest social network that ever was. I mean, so many people that I'm close friends with that I know are all from, it all goes back to Blab. I mean, that's where so many of us started, where I mean, I didn't even know what live streaming really was before I discovered Blab. I thought Blab was like, there's something going on, and then we talk about it, like it was going to be some sort of chat thing or like messaging, like, a Twitter chat on steroids or something. And all of a sudden I go on there and it's like talk radio heaven and with webcams. And, so yeah, that's where I started doing this. Now, first of all, Blab, there was no quality control. The front The homepage was, I mean, there were a lot of things that weren't right about Blab, but the community, the way the community rallied around that platform or came to that platform, or maybe how the features of that platform facilitated that creation of community. I'm not sure who gets the credit, or if it was the right, combination of circumstances. But that was wonderful. But in terms of people such as yourself who are taking a very serious approach to this, doing high quality live streaming, care about your craft, care about the quality of the interviews you do, people have gotten better since Blab went off, because Blab made it easy to have an audience. It made it easy to have conversations about anything, to go for hours or whatever. When Blab was gone, the first thing everybody noticed is these other platforms, and this was maybe before everybody was going to Facebook Live now, right? Which certainly has ways of discovery, but most of these platforms that were sort of like Blab, right, had almost no built-in discovery. So you wouldn't just go to the platform and then pick which show you wanted to watch because you saw some different shows on the homepage, and you'd just be like, oh, I know this guy, I know this person. Which one do I want to watch? It was more like you'd only go there if you got an invite or you found out about it because they were promoting it. And so people had to bring their own audience, and that required people to get better.
Yeah. Leslie Nance has joined us, and she says you're spot on your observations on Blab.
Oh, thanks. Hey, Leslie.
Was she on? She was on Blab, wasn't she?
She was. I remember her on. I remember when she was. We connected, and she was going to come on my Livestream Stars show. I'd sent her an invite. Probably, I don't know. That first year of doing it, I was nuts, right? And I was booked like 8 months ahead. So I sent her an invite about like the show being on Blab. And by the time it got around to her show, I hadn't been doing Blabs in 6 months or whatever. I jumped ship before it actually completely sank. But so we did one on Blue Jeans, another one on BeLive TV, but Leslie's so outstanding, such a talent. She works for any platform, any room. I mean, she's fantastic. Yeah, and going to go on and do amazing things. She's only scratching the surface here. And it's
been exploding for her. So I've got Ian Goldie on Periscope. He's made a couple of comments. One, he doesn't know, he never heard of Blab. So I don't know if you want to give just a tidbit of what Blab was about. And the other thing he said was, he says he doesn't like Facebook Live. We don't have to go into that. A lot of people don't, but he thinks Periscope is dying a slow death, and I think he's a Periscoper. So, I think that the connection with Blab and Periscope is kind of relevant here.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go where your community. Let me first say, like, aside from all that, you got to go where your community is, right? So whether I love everything about Facebook Live, whether I'd like to see things different, I certainly wish the quality for when you stream right to Facebook Live and you're not recording it locally isn't what I wish it was for the replays, for downloading and things like that. But you got to go where your community is, right? And my community's on Facebook, and that's where people are used to seeing me now for quite some time. And that's where I tend to, get a lot of people who want to engage, and it's just they're used to seeing me there. I'm used to them being there, and it works for me. If you've been on Periscope for a long time, you probably are going to do better and have a more enjoyable shows on Periscope, because that's where your community's hanging out. That's where the people and who want to join you. But I don't know what the future of Periscope is. I honestly don't spend enough time on Periscope to be on top of what's going on.
I have my results on Periscope right now mirror my results on Meerkat in very early 2016 or late 2015, where it was just very few people. When I first got on Periscope, I never got big. I haven't used it enough, but I'd get 10 or 15 people sometimes. Now, like tonight, I've had 2, and they've stayed with me this evening, and I'm forever grateful for that. Ian Goldie's one of them. I don't know who the other one is. Somebody else was commenting just a minute ago. I just haven't been on Periscope the way I should. just to let you guys know over on Periscope who have been interacting a little bit, you have your choice with me, because right now I'm sending the signal to 4 places. It's going to YouTube, which I think I have no one watching there except, actually, I had some today with Mike Murphy. There were some people that were watching today on YouTube. I just can't monitor it while it's live. But I do a little sleight of hand to be on Instagram Live. I'm on YouTube Live, Periscope, and Facebook Live. So I don't have to pick right now. I kind of like being able to do it this way, and I'll probably always try. I mean, if Meerkat still existed right now and I had a spare device and there was every time I went on, there was 1 or 2 people, I'd turn it on. I'd go ahead and turn it on and just, if I could send the signal with ease, I would do it. But I think you're right. Facebook, and for love or for hate, good or bad, whatever, Facebook is definitely where it's at. And I think Instagram even is where it's at. Instagram Live, I get huge. Now, today's been very slow on Instagram Live. I don't know what's going on there today, but normally I have more people watching on Instagram Live and staying through the whole broadcast than I do on any of the platforms, which is kind of interesting. Now, Instagram Live cuts you off after an hour, which is kind of crummy, but you can restart it and a lot of those people will show right back up. But what
about a fifth device and go to Busker?
I'll tell you something, dude. I'm trying to do 8 shows.
That would be fun.
8 or 10 shows a week right now. I'm being really ambitious, and I know that my time. I'm going to have to make some choices about this in the next week or 2 as I play with this. But even the amount of devices. I mean, it takes me a couple minutes to get everything going, and I mean, unless I thought Busker, is it going anywhere? I don't even know. I knew what that was at one point. I don't know what it is now. Is it?
Well, here's the thing, right? If you wanted to sell something, people can buy it right from Busker. They can just, I forget what it's called, Stripe or something. They can just pay right on Busker, or they put their credit card in. So if you wanted to sell something, that would be one reason to go to Busker, because people who like what you're doing or whatever might just go ahead and buy right there. You don't have to send them back to your website or, have them join your email list or anything. They just buy.
It sounds to me like Livestream Deals needs to be, you need to have a way to be on Instagram Live too, because, or not Instagram Live, Busker, so that you can sell. We have a few comments from Leslie and Coach Jenny. Leslie says,
"Hey, Coach Jenny."
Yeah, Leslie says she understands the concerns people are having about Periscope, but she's a big fan. I'm a big fan too, Leslie. In fact, I think that the overall quality of audio and video tends to be the best on Periscope in live and replay. I think the quality is not matched by any of the other platforms right now. Jenny says she didn't know this broadcast was happening today. Jenny, I'm being really nutty right now. Livestream or Live Video Live is just a kind of a shoot the shit at 8 o'clock at night Pacific with whoever's around to chit chat. And last night it was Jen Nelson. Tonight it's Ross Brand, and I think tomorrow night's Peter Nez. But Thursday night, if anybody wants
the professor,
the professor's going to join me. And if anybody wants to reach out and take a Thursday slot and just hang out and chit chat about live streaming and what you're up to, and nothing big, no great expectations, you're welcome to send me a PM and we'll do it. There's a lot of comments coming in real quick. Let me see. What the heck is TriCasting? Coach Jenny's asking. Actually, this is a quadcast because I'm going to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I always want to say Meerkat and Periscope. Jenny wants to be. Jenny, if you want to be on Thursday night, you've got it, my friend. We'll talk about your book, Hilda, and I think I have it right behind me. You've read Hilda, haven't you, Ross? Or you've got a copy?
I have. The only problem with, I got to be honest, I haven't finished Hilda, and I'll tell you why. Every time I start reading Hilda, I get through like a page or two, and whatever it was that was like holding me back from something, I just go do it and put the book down. So it like signals me just picking it up. It's like you hear Coach Jenny and you're like back to work.
There it is, Hilda. And I've got it right behind me. Let's see. I read most of the book, but it's been a while since I picked this one up. I tend to start books. I've almost finished Chris Strubb's book. And I read most of it in one sitting, but I just haven't found a moment to get back to it. But Coach Jenny's book, since she's with us. And for those of you who might not know Coach Jenny, go look up Hilda on Amazon. This book just exudes excellence. It's oozing it. It's dripping with just great stuff. Everything about this book has been well thought out. And it's a good read. And Ross and I both got to hang out with Coach Jenny at Summit Live in Los Angeles back in March or February, whenever it was. And we had a great time.
Absolutely. And when you talk to Coach Jenny on Thursday night, also talk to her about South by Southwest.
Oh, yeah. Tell us a little bit about South by Southwest. We'll go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to you, Ross.
So shameless.
No. But here's the thing. We need to talk about that because you need some more votes. And we have a ton of comments coming in, so I can put the screen over on you while you tell us about the South by Southwest thing, and I can see if there's any comments we need to address real quick.
Cool. So Coach Jenny invited me to be a part of a panel that she was putting together called Facebook Live, Build Your Tribe and Actually Make Money. It's all about how to monetize Facebook Live by building a following, building a community there, and then being able to monetize on Facebook Live. So it's Coach Jenny, it's Monique Johnson and Karen Graves and myself. And the voting is underway for panels and speakers, and anybody who wants to check it out can go over to livestreamuniverse.com/SXSW. livestreamuniverse.com/SXX. I should have put vote 2018 or something. livestreamuniverse.com/SXSW. And you can find out more about our panel. You can vote for us. You can read some comments that people have left about how they feel about what we're proposing. And we would love to speak at South by Southwest and really talk about live streaming for business, not just to get views or, to entertain, but actually how people in business, entrepreneurs, small business owners, even corporations can benefit from live streaming and specifically Facebook Live.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's fantastic. I put my vote in. You sent me a private message at one point, and I went and did it immediately.
Oh, thank you.
Is it very competitive? Can you see what votes other people are getting?
We can't see votes, so we just don't. I don't think there's any way to know. So anybody who would like to vote, we would love your vote. livestreamuniverse.com/SXSW.
And Jenny,
that would just be a wonderful experience to go there, and we think people would really enjoy what we're doing. And let me just mention one other thing.
Yeah.
We are doing, each of us is doing 1 day a week solo live stream talking about something related to the topic, right? So rather than just saying vote for us, we want to earn your vote or pay you back for your vote by providing 5 days a week for 3 weeks of free content that hopefully is beneficial. 4 solo live streams, one person from one panelist each is taking a different day. Tomorrow's Karen Graves. I went on Tuesday. Monique went on Monday. Coach Jenny will go on Thursday. And then on Fridays, all of us will get together and give you a taste of what it's like when the 4 of us are interacting and kind of the chemistry that we have, and what we learned, what we discussed related to the topic during the week, maybe what comments people had and things that made us look at it a different way. It's just been a wonderful experience. Such great people, and I hope we keep this going. But I just love what we're doing. And the support, at least from the messages that I've gotten and stuff, have been overwhelming. How wonderful this community is and how supportive they are.
Well, if you guys do that, it'll be a huge feather in your cap. You guys will have a great time. and it looks like a fantastic panel. I only know 2 of your panel if it happens, but I imagine that all 4 of you are just outstanding in what you do, and it'll be a real benefit for the people attending and who come to your conference or panel or whatever they're going to call it.
Well, thanks, Todd. I appreciate
Jenny put for those who are interested in casting a vote. Coach Jenny put a link in the comments on Facebook. So Periscopers,
cool.
If you want to jump over to Facebook, it's Todd.LIVE spelled out. It's www.facebook.com/Todd.LIVE spelled out. Or you can go to the search bar and just type in Todd.LIVE, the period dot, and look for the page, and you will find it, and it will be the video on top, and you can cast your vote. Ross, one of the people on Periscope asked if you're a full-time live streamer.
No, I have other work that I need to do. Live streaming is a part of what I do, but it's not all of what I do.
It feels like it sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does, because there's a lot of it that takes place between 10 at night and 2 or 3 in the morning sometimes, or Saturday afternoons and Saturday nights and Sunday mornings and things like that. If I didn't enjoy it, I just, there'd be no way you could put in this much effort to it. I think you know what I'm talking about. I mean, all the work you've put in, Todd, in creating your studio and in making things work and in learning the technology and learning all the different aspects of putting a broadcast together. And you do a very sophisticated live stream using Wirecast, producing it yourself, beyond just going out to different channels. All the things that you do, even to get on one channel, is impressive, and it takes time. I mean, the more you do, right, the more complicated your setup is, the more you go up a level in terms of the equipment you're using and stuff, the more time it takes and the more other parts you need to make that work.
Absolutely. Well, for me, it's kind of like, how much can I do and do it by myself?
Right.
Would I love to have a production crew and all I have to do is talk? Sure, I would love that. And maybe that'll happen someday. But, I feel like a lot of people, including myself right now, I don't have the luxury of hiring. I don't have the budget to hire a production crew. And so, what can I do? What's reasonable that I can do, pushing the limits but staying within reason on my own? And I think if I can kind of master my craft, I've always felt like if I can master that, then I can help others do it too. Because I think there's going to be other people out there that can't get a production crew, or maybe it's too much and they just want to be able to turn on and go on at night. And how many people are really going to want to go on 4 different channels at once? To be
right.
Look, I think a lot of people would if it was easy. And if I can somehow make it easy, make it palatable for me, and can, prove it up to other people that it's easier, maybe there's something to help people with. I don't know, but I have enjoyed pushing the limits. It started with, I think I bought 4 iPads once before I knew, before Wirecast was around. And before, I was thinking, okay, I got to have a different mobile device for everything. And then it was the mixer, because I wanted to send professional sound into each mobile device instead of using the internal microphone. And it's become a thing, and it's been a lot of fun. It's kind of like Mike Murphy said in the podcast I did with him today in the live video. Folks, that's the little plug for that. Go watch Mike Murphy. He's fantastic. You can find him on my YouTube channel, or just scroll down today on my Facebook Live. But he's one
I just want to say a quick hello to Barb Tomlin, who's here. Barb's been
absolutely.
so super supportive of myself and Coach Jenny and our panel. And I just wanted to say hello and thank her, because we really appreciate all her support that she's given us.
That's awesome. I do not know Barb myself, but I'm delighted that she's with us. And we have more people with us now than when, it always happens that when
she goes back to Blab with us.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, there's a core group of us that all came together on Blab. And yeah, I mean, it was a wonderful, like we were saying earlier, Blab was a wonderful experience, and so many relationships and friendships and collaborations and all that kind of stuff have come out of it, even without it still being here, right? I mean, we go on, and like I've said many times, I think most people are better off of Blab because they have to be.
Right.
Those that wanted, like you said, those that wanted really easy didn't continue with it because it's harder without Blab, without that discovery, without that built-in community that's going to find you if you just press the button and go live and keep talking long enough. When you have to bring your own audience and you have to build your audience and you have to provide content on a platform like Facebook or Periscope where you're competing with so many distractions and so many other things, I think it's made a lot of people that I've watched who were on Blab, who were okay on Blab, right? It was fine, right? But they've gotten much better after Blab because they've had no choice and they've had to think about what to deliver and what they want to talk about and who they want to talk to and what kind of show they want to have. You didn't have to think about that stuff so much on Blab because the conversation just took place whether you wanted it to or not.
Absolutely. Well, you know, like I said, I got into Blab late. I really wish I was part of that crowd because it's obvious every time Blab comes up, the Blab people were passionate about it. It's a real shame that it isn't with us anymore. I know there's the Wiki Key. I don't know if that's happening, if it's any good. I think I logged in once and the production was very, very low. And that's not Wiki Key's fault. That was just whoever was logging in and broadcasting. I mean, the lights were dim and it was hard to see anybody. And it was just, there was no microphones. And, you know, I don't know if it's ever going to get to the point where it's a replacement for Blab. And not that Blab can be replaced. It probably can't, can it?
I don't know. I mean, I think in some ways Crowdcast reminds you of a very much upscale Blab, in that you can get the 4 windows going. It's very easy to join, although it's a little different because you don't just request. Somebody has to invite you. But it's expensive, and there's no discovery. And unless you stream to Facebook Live, nobody really knows that you're live at the time. And if people are watching on Facebook Live, somehow you feel distant. I'm not knocking the platform. It's a beautiful, beautiful platform. It's got a lot of features for marketers. But it's hard to recapture what you had on Blab in a platform where there's no discovery and it's just a few people using it here and there. Like I say, I think Be Live, it's not the same thing as Blab, but they're working on the community, right? Which most of the apps haven't thought about at all. And Be Live has a very active Facebook group, and they're producing their own shows or hiring their own talent, and they're putting something together that is more than just a way to get on Facebook Live. It's a way to learn broadcasting. It's a way to communicate with other people and understand what other people are doing. And there's definitely a strong community that's rallied around that, and it also has the ability to bring people on. But it's different from Blab. I mean, Blab is unique in the 4 windows, you know, the 4 people on camera at one time. And
I love that.
You know, that's the ease of getting on and off. Everybody's in the chat, and then all of a sudden somebody requests to come in. You bring them in. It was like a rotating.
I liked all the little round icons that are kind of like what you see at the top of Instagram with all the different people and their avatars.
Yeah, you see who's there, and then like you welcome people as they come in the chat, and it was very easy to send it to Twitter for a while until they broke that functionality.
Yeah, true.
I mean, the problem with Blab is that the people who stepped into this incredible community, right, who were running it and probably had no idea what was going to happen, right? And they, for some reason, instead of saying, okay, how do we adapt to what we have, right? Because we have this powerful community. How do we monetize this? I felt like they came to resent the community and like, well, this community is forcing us in a direction that we don't really want to go in anymore, even if it was a direction that they first advertised wanting to go in. Sort of like a coach that has a system or a philosophy, right? We win with defense and we never throw the ball. Well, if you end up the best player in your team is a quarterback with a great arm and your best talent is wide receivers, it really doesn't make sense to play time possession and just run the ball if you don't have a running game, right? I mean, you have to a good coach coaches to the talent, not forces the talent into a system. And they didn't adjust to the reality. They probably, it's like winning the lottery and saying I didn't want this ticket. It wasn't the numbers I wanted to play. Okay, so give back the money.
Right.
Throw away what you've got rather than try and convert those users. And maybe look, they were in touch with far more data and far more information than we had. And so it's very possible that they looked at all the angles and the numbers and the cost and just said, look, at the rate we're going, it's a great community, but this isn't going to work for us in terms of what we need to do. And, I said at the time, they have a responsibility to their, to their owners, to their shareholders, to their employees, to do whatever's in the best interest of their bottom line, right?
Absolutely.
That's ultimately, not only do they have a right to do that, they have a responsibility to do that. When you're employing people and somebody's giving you money and you have investors, you have to do what's right for them. And that could have been the thinking, or it could have been just hubris that, we've got our ideas and we know better than this community of blabbers knows. I don't know which it is. I don't fault them if it was, looking at the numbers and saying this isn't feasible financially. But it didn't mean you had to sort of spit on what you had. You could still ease out of it nicely, right?
Absolutely.
And that's I mean, I know people who are listening, some people are probably saying like, Ross, what are you rehashing all this crap for?
Well,
get over it already. But it's hard to see talent get wasted, right? And it's hard to see somebody had put together an app and it took off and they weren't either nimble enough to adjust to it going a little bit differently than they had planned, or how they could maybe change their game to make it. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't workable, but it certainly deserved a little bit better try and certainly better handling and management than it seemed to get. And I'm sorry to the people there if they don't like that, but that's,
Well, it seems like Twitter is, in a lot of ways, is a dumpster fire anyway. And it's just there's a lot of no direction.
Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter.
I was talking about Blab.
Well, but Twitter owned Blab.
No, it didn't.
I thought it owned Blab. I thought it controlled and managed Blab.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Really? Wasn't it
Blab's
integrated?
owned by somebody else.
I swear I thought Blab had something to do
Blab's
with Twitter.
owned by Bebo.
Wow.
Yeah. No, there's no relationship between.
Then my whole world is shattered, because for a year I thought it was totally tied to Twitter. And it seems to me there's been a lot of talk about it. Maybe I just misunderstood what I was hearing.
Twitter certainly had its issues, but you cannot blame Twitter for Blab.
Oh, well, there's my I did not know that. I for some reason or another, I thought that the two were intertwined in some fashion. Or, oh, wait a minute, you're right. No, for some reason, I still I had the impression that it was somehow controlled by Twitter. Oh well, snafu.
No worries.
So everything I believed for the last year and a half is shattered. Bebo, I remember Bebo. Wasn't there something? Didn't Bebo come out with another app, or did they change it to Bebo?
They came out with actually an app called Bebo, I think, and
that
then
didn't work.
I don't know what happened with that, but a lot of us are like sort of we're never stepping foot in that joint again.
Interesting.
Right?
Interesting. So we've got a couple more comments. Ian Goldie says he's really enjoyed the show tonight. He did ask.
Thank you, Ian.
He did ask a question about what we thought about Mixer going up against Twitch. I don't know anything about that.
I'm not familiar with Mixer.
I'm not either, and I don't really follow Twitch. Barb has commented, and she has invited me to a private group that she's involved with. So I'll probably go join that when I get in front of the computer tonight. She says that you're right on in what you said. And Blabs, let's see, Jeffrey Fitzgerald says Blab seemed to be owned by Congress, giving its dysfunction. Yeah, I don't, you know what? I don't know why I thought it was owned by Twitter. I really did. I thought, was it not integrate when you went live on there? Did it not send out tweets? But it just,
I mean, they made it easy to tweet from the platform. You could just click a button and it sent out a pretty much set up and sent out a tweet, but there was no.
Who the hell is
Twitter
Bebo?
had no ownership or management or oversight, as far as I know, in Blab. Blab was owned by a wealthy individual who I believe had sold what was Bebo or some other product he had developed that I really don't know the whole story, but he sold it to a big company like Microsoft or Google or somebody. And whatever he sold it to them for, he got it back a lot cheaper than he sold it for. So he had a ton of money, and the product didn't do what the big company that acquired it had hoped it would do. So he not only had the product rights back, but he had the money. So he tried to hire some people to go and do what they did, and it became Blab. And I don't know. I don't know what went on behind the scenes. Barb may know better than I do. There's other people who are a little more tuned into the inner workings of the community and stuff like that at the Blab headquarters and whatever. It was I don't know. It was a weird thing the way they kind of went about it, but whatever.
It's too bad that there's not a solid replacement. Maybe WikiKey just needs some more time. I like I said, I went in it once or twice. I didn't see any. If I saw familiar faces, I probably would have played with it a lot more. But I went in there and I didn't know anybody, and I went into one or two rooms and nothing was dazzling me. I couldn't make it work.
But let's be honest, Todd. If Blab came back tomorrow, or there was a replacement that had the same functionality and community, wouldn't you still be going live to different platforms through Wirecast, producing yourself with your own graphics? I mean, it would be a place you might go hang out and see what other people are talking about. That's what I do. You know, and enjoy the community aspect of it, but it wouldn't change the way you do shows. No. You're at a level that it would be, I don't know, it would be going from the pros to single A ball.
No, it would be networking. It's like you know, when you go in front of the camera, when I go in front of the camera, and we do our own shows and we do our production with our lower thirds, or going through BeLive or Wirecast or whatever it is we're doing, we're putting on our show. We're putting on, you know, the content that we want to produce, and some of it's going to podcast maybe, and so there's some more thought into it. I see Blab as a water cooler. We're all of the content creators, you know, we're hanging out at the water cooler. All of the people interested in the online space, whether it was social media, live video, whatever, that was the water cooler, and it was a cool water cooler. It was like, you know, the break room, where, you know, anything goes, and people could kind of, you know, just be themselves, and, you know, or to an extent, I suppose, but, you know, just have fun and chit chat and get to know each other, and people come and go. Yeah. And it was less formal. Like right now, if I want to do that, I mean, to be quite honest with you, I need to try it at some point, is to do a call-in show where I have 3 different guests, and we run it through Skype, and people call in and you know, and take their turn. I think that would be a fun thing to try. I don't know if it would really make for good programming on Facebook or Periscope or whatever.
That would be hard to do through Skype. You would need like 3 more computers or something.
Well, but
right?
I'm thinking that when you, like, if I were to hang up with you right now, I call the next person. And if I'm doing so I could go to a screen, like I think you're watching on Facebook, so I can go to the screen where it's just me. So when I'm doing the next call, you don't see it on the screen, where here, like if I hung up on you right now, you'd see a white screen with information from Skype on it. So I could go to something like this, maybe kind of talk, maybe even play some music, maybe play like the theme from Jeopardy when somebody's trying to, you know, trying to come up with an answer.
Would you be able to take calls as one person yourself, or you would need somebody else to like answer?
No, I think I could take. Well, I would do the calling. So maybe before the show, I know who I'm going to call, and they're already in my Skype. When I was at the Adam Carolla show, he talked about he does a lot of call-ins where people can call into his podcast, and it's a live podcast. And I'm going to research that topic because I think live podcast sounds very intriguing. And I imagine that if I can figure out live podcast, then I can figure out a way to do live video where people are calling in just as though it were a live podcast. And, you know, I put a number out there, like some internet number they give me, and or some code or something. And during that time, I can take calls, and then I can add to the jukebox. I could add sounds like a flush sound. So like if somebody comes on here and starts saying something ridiculous, I hit the flush button and dump them and move on to the next one and make it kind of like a radio show. But it's a live
you would
video.
do it with video. You would bring their video on through Skype, but it would work as a podcast too.
Oh, but imagine if you do have trolls out there, like you turn it on and somebody's mooning you, and you have to like dump them really quick. I mean, you know what? It might make for good programming, even if it's something awful like that. You just never know. Right. Things like that. I mean, look at people like the crap on television. So go figure what people will watch. I mean, they watch Bachelor, right?
Does Adam Carolla, does he use Skype to bring his guests in?
You know what? I don't know. He didn't talk about Skype at all. I don't think there's a video component to his live podcasts unless he's out in the field. I think they've done some live podcasts on cruise ships, and they might have had some video there. But I think if they're not strictly audio, they're almost strictly audio.
Well, some people use Skype just for the audio because the audio is such good quality. So they do their podcasts through Skype without video. That's
true. We lost Coach Jenny. She's loving the conversation, but she's got to run. Thanks, Jenny, if you're still with us, for showing up.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Jenny.
Ian Goldstein transferred over from Ian Goldie on Periscope over to Facebook, and he commented that the quality on Periscope is in audio and video is much higher than what we're seeing on Facebook, which I think you agree with.
That's been your experience, yeah. I mean, when I used to watch Let's live stream from home, like if I'm at home and I watch it, where I'm on the computer and I can go back and forth or whatever, I will often start on Facebook and then go over to Periscope. Rachel was hosting and Jen would come on and stuff like that, and it was just a better experience on Periscope. Put Periscope on a big screen and it looks, a big screen relative to a phone, because we think of Periscope mostly as a phone app, but it's a pretty good desktop experience watching Periscope on a desktop. So you think Periscope's even better than the quality of what you have from that goes out to YouTube?
That I'm not certain. I really haven't done a big comparison, but I know that Periscope, I think, is dazzling as far as the picture and the audio in comparison to everywhere. I think YouTube probably is right there with Periscope.
Right.
I mean, the stuff that I put on YouTube when I stream is gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Do you record the video locally or just the audio locally?
Tonight I didn't even record the audio locally. On this particular program, I probably won't. I thought about it, and I actually intended to tonight. Because I've got a guy who I'm gonna hire that's gonna create some videos for Instagram, some real quick 1 minute,
right?
With a lot of jump cuts and things, and so content like this is good. I always forget to, when I hit the streaming button, I tend to hit the streaming button. Well, I hit it way early from Wirecast, but then I have to go into Switchboard and turn on all the streams in Switchboard, and I forget to go back to hit the record button on Wirecast. And what I need to do is just hit that record button when I hit the stream button.
Right.
That when I'm doing a program that's going to be a podcast, even if I'm starting the streams a half hour early, I will start recording for the podcast a half hour early, and I'll just clip it later, because there's been a couple times when Chris Strub was my podcast guest on Create and Engage, I forgot to hit the pause button on the recording, and we missed the intro and the first 2 minutes of him talking. So I had to create a little clip to throw at the beginning of that to apologize to him and to the crowd that we missed some stuff. But little tricks that I do to try to remember these things, because I've got a lot of stuff to turn on. I have a lot of stuff to turn off when I want to do live video on 4 platforms and a podcast on top of it and record it locally. It's just, and I try to put it in a sheet, but then I'm sitting here reading a sheet, and I'm live on a few platforms, and people are watching me read a sheet and trying to get set up, and I don't want that. So I'd rather just try to naturally, and I'll learn it. It'll just take some time of doing it and repeating, and it'll just become second nature.
So you're recording the video then when you do a podcast, you record the video locally, or you just go with what goes out? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're doing both. You're doing both streaming from your desktop and recording on a desktop, and that's not on a desktop that can handle the CPU power.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all in Wirecast. So I hit the record in Wirecast and I hit the stream in Wirecast, and it's all on this Mac, and it's the last generation of Mac. So I bought this Mac fully loaded in, I think, March, and within a month or two they had the new Mac. So which is fine. I'm happy with what I've got. I mean, I got everything on it except maybe I didn't get the largest hard drive. But
is it an iMac or a Pro?
Yeah, it's an iMac. It's the big giant 27-inch. They're great. They're fantastic, and they're not. I mean, they're expensive, but they're not as bad as. I mean, look, you do it once every. I probably will use this thing. It'll be good for what I'm doing for at least 4 years. So I mean, it is what it is. And I buy through my business, and we have enough people in my family now that need devices that I get the discount that Apple gives for your business. So I don't know if it's like 10% or something. It's not huge, but it helps.
I mean, I don't know if this sort of tech stuff is interesting to people or not, but you know, we were talking about this a little bit off the air, but my situation is I have a fairly recent MacBook Pro, but to both stream with Wirecast and record in Wirecast taxes my CPU to the point where I don't feel comfortable doing it. I do have an old like 2012 PC or whatever. I wonder if I just hook that up and like get ScreenFlow or something and put the I don't know. I'd have to still get it from Wirecast into there because I don't want to record it off of Facebook Live. I want to record it what's going out from Wirecast because that's where you're still capturing it at a high quality.
Yeah, and it might be tricky with the audio. If you're getting all the audio or are you only getting your audio? I mean, there's all sorts of things that could screw up that plan, but it's worth pursuing. And of course, off the air, if you want to hook up and work that problem out. You and I have gotten together and solved lots of problems with each other's equipment over the last year. So I'm always down to do that.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, you're doing a great job, man. You've really ramped up in a short period of time to be able to handle quite a lot of equipment and make it all work. And then, like I say, the more you have and the higher quality you have and the more you level up in what you're using, the more other parts need to come into play, the more time it takes to set up, the more things you have to turn on, the more things you have to plug in, the more possibilities there are that something could go wrong.
Yeah, and you know what? Something just went wrong. I had me taking up the full screen while you were talking there, and I thought we were both on the screen, and out of the corner of my eye I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. And I hit the wrong button. So I had it just on me. Sorry, folks. That wasn't intentional. Ross, we're losing people. People are saying goodnight to us. Ian Goldson's
good night, everybody.
Taking off. Jenny's taking off. But I think we probably should wind it down. So you've pretty much covered just about everything going on with Ross Brand and Livestream Stars and the South by Southwest voting that's going on. But tell people who are interested in you where they can find you. I think we might have covered that as well. But I always love to close out the show with the details of where my guest can be found if people want to look you up.
LivestreamUniverse.com is the website. On Facebook Live is where I do my live streams. You can just go to rossbrand.live, and that will take you to the Livestream Universe Facebook page. But most importantly, if you like what you heard tonight, please do vote for our team for a panel at South by Southwest. It's livestreamuniverse.com/SXSW, livestreamuniverse.com/SXSW.
And vote for him, folks. He's got a great panel. Coach Jenny, Ross Brand. The other two, I do not know their names right off the top of my head. You're welcome to throw them out, Ross. Who is it?
Yeah, Karen Graves and Monique Johnson.
Monique Johnson. It's going to be a great panel if they get to do it. So cast the vote if you can. Folks, thank you for watching. I feel like I've made some new friends tonight. some people over on Periscope, some people on Facebook. Tonight was a great episode. The mayor of live streaming, Ross Brand, we all know and love him. He knows everybody in this space. And I love having him on the show and getting to talk to him. He's become a good friend of mine over the last year. And hopefully he and I will be attending some stuff in the near future. We talk about it all the time, but
right.
he's in New York and I'm in Southern California. So it's tricky when you've got airfare and hotel and cost of show. It's got to be a good one for him to travel out here or for me to travel over there. So from time to time, it'll happen. But thank you all for watching tonight. Everybody that commented, liked, shared, whatever on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, or Instagram Live, which is now closed out. We've been past the hour, so that shut down. Thank you for watching, commenting, whatever, for sharing the love. And tomorrow night, it's Professor Nez, and Thursday night, it is Coach Jenny. So we got a lot of fun coming, a lot of good people, and we'll start talking about next week here in a few days. But Ross, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. It was a blast.
Well, listen, stick around, Ross. Let me close out, and we will wind this down. Thank you all again as I shut down for being with us. Facebook, you're closing out first. Take care, friends. YouTube and Periscope, good night.